Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for graphic novels I have recently read throughout June to July 2024. And as you can see here, I've got quite a number of graphic novels I've been reading through. So first off, we have some Teen Titans, New 52, Volume 4, Light and Dark. I believe I picked this up because it had something in regards to Tim Drake reflecting on the death of Damian Wayne. Of course, under that we have the Inferior 5, which was actually recommended on a channel that I follow. We also have DC's versus Vampires, bit of an Elseworlds type story. Certainly interesting, but is it great? We'll soon find out when we reach the rating. Of course, after that, we have Fence, Volume 6, Redemption, to which we follow the character of Nicholas Cox and also some of his classmates at his fencing school, and who he actually likes, amongst other things. Next, we have 20XX, which actually has sort of like a breakdown of a number of stories. I do actually like some of the stories that Jonathan Luna does tell through Image Comics, and I'd definitely like to check out more. Of course, we have Batman, the Dark Knight Detective, Volume 6, as well as Volume 8. I'm sure you'll be asking, where's Volume 7? Fair question. Of course, we have the Super Sons Compendium, the first volume, Book 1. And always a 10 out of 10 for the Super Sons, and I'm really surprised to see DC keep pushing this Super Sons more so than a certain Super Sons type dynamic. Of course, we have The Flash, and we've got 2 volumes there. So there's Eclipsed and The Search for Barry Allen, which connects to a certain event. Of course, we have Action Comics having to do with Philip Kennedy Johnson, called The Arena. We have the TMNT Turtles crossover, Dark Knights of Steel by Tom Taylor. Yes, I thought I'd check it out and to see if it's all that it claims to be. You know, it is a bit of an Elseworlds story. Let me say one thing, it ain't super great. I've read better stories. I get what he's trying to do, but I think for a story like that, it needs its own world. And of course, one of the worst writers at DC Comics, yes, I still had to check out her works, but I also need it as an archive type thing. And in regards to what I mean as an archive is archive it as how writers destroy really good characters in DC Comics. The last 2, we have Blood Tree by Peter J. Tomasi, which is surprisingly quite interesting, and I definitely look forward as to what will happen when Volume 2 comes along, and also what it will be addressing. And last but not least, House of Slaughter, which is by James Tynion. I think this series is actually a little bit better than What's Killing the Children, that series, or Something Is Killing the Children. Yes, it's probably a little bit more mature, adult oriented compared to Something Is Killing the Children. That's not to say that it doesn't have mature themes, which it does, but I think this one's actually quite better because it focuses actually on the houses that are connected to the main character in Something Is Killing the Children is working for, and we get to see like members from each house, even what their specialties are, or even how each house connected to the House of Slaughter specializes in certain areas. And of course, taking on monsters. So, jumping into first things first, the next thing, and that is the rating. So, for the Teen Titans Volume 4, Light and Dark, I give it a 7 out of 10. The Inferior 5, it was quite interesting. It did also cover a bit of a backup story that was also in the Inferior 5 comics, which I had no idea about, and we do get to see the character of Peacemaker and Amanda Waller and and a couple of other faces. There were some funny moments that I did actually quite enjoy with it, to which I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Next is DC versus Vampires. Who'd ever thought Damian Wayne would become a vampire and be quite upset about it? I wouldn't blame him, to be honest. But it is interesting seeing some of the stories for this. 7 out of 10. Just an average. Thanks. Now, I have actually read the comics connected to this series. But it's always nice to read the trade. So for this, a 7.5 out of 10. I do think the story is definitely going somewhere. Next we have 20XX, to which I'll give an average of a 7. Next is The Dark Knight Detective, both volumes 6 and 8. Definitely an 8 out of 10, as I enjoyed both volumes that I read here. The Super Sons Compendium, volume 1. Big 10 out of 10 from me. Not only that, some of the best team-ups in the story, whether it's Peter J. Tomasi, Patrick Gleason, Jorge Jimenez, and Carlo Barbieri. And yes, there's also some Art D-Bird as well, which will probably show up in the next lot of stuff. Next we have The Flash, which is connected to Jeremy Adams' run. And I must admit, I really enjoyed Jeremy Adams as he wrote Wally West. DC, getting back on Wally West. Get rid of Simon Spurrier. Just saying, Simon Spurrier ain't gonna sell, especially for me. I ain't gonna pick up Simon Spurrier trades, so you're gonna lose money that way. Search for Barry Allen, absolutely enjoyed it. Moving into Action Comics by Philip Kennedy Johnson. Warworld, the Arena arc. For this, I give a 7 out of 10. Team NT Power Rangers, the second volume connected to the story. With this, I give an 8 out of 10. It was actually quite fun. Dark Knights of Steel, I'm afraid I might give it a 6.5 out of 10. Even though it is an Elseworld story, it ain't that great. Now, for these two, destroy your character and make him this sexual gender for profit, a big fat 0 out of 10, I'm afraid to say. Great way to destroy a character. If anything, DC Comics should kick her out of comic writing altogether. Blacklist her permanently, I'm afraid to say. And moving into Blood Tree, which was also quite interesting. In fact, she might actually do better in the indie comic scene, and maybe even some Marvel comics that she might be suited for. Next we have Blood Tree by Peter J. Tomasi, to which I give a 7.5 out of 10. Really quite enjoyed rereading through the story again. I want to see where this story continues. And last but not least, House of Slaughter by James Tynion, to which I give it also an 8 out of 10. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.